Mike Gill, State of Corruption. We got a special day for you today. I've got my lawyer's jacket. Yeah, I just put it over my investigating shirt. We're gonna go to court today. We're gonna go see Judge Anderson in Brentwood, the extortion judge, the one who wanted to get into my business account only to give it to the drug dealers, which we have proof. We're gonna confront Anderson with that. Not only that, remember I told you they're running an AG operation? I didn't know if you noticed, but Anonymous just came out with evidence that's going to force A.G. Foster, who's been covering up these criminals, to resign, right? You don't think they have the President of the United States' ear, do you? Of course they do. And what I'm going to show you today is that extortion piece. I'm going to let Anderson know that the train's coming, and it's coming right over him. We're going to turn around. In a matter of weeks, they have taken over $600,000 out of my business to close down State of Corruption and that business. Well, you're going to see that moment with Anderson. And then after Anderson, see, they put it all on the same day. We're going to drive up to court in Concord with the drug dealers. See, they're going to try to get this sign shut off. They're going to try to stop me from talking to you. Well, good luck. Because the information I'm bringing in that court is the information that the feds have. Okay, so we got a long day.
Okay, Mr. Hilliard, your motion for periodic payments has been on several times, I think, already. Why don't you address it again this morning?
I have submitted, Your Honor, I hope you received this morning a copy of the speech of Mr. Gill, a hearing memorandum that outlines this hearing, as well as an affidavit from me containing certain public records about real estate holdings owned or controlled by the defendant, as well as a very brief synopsis of some highlights of the financial information he submitted to the court and to me in December, Your Honor. And as I summarized in the memo, in conclusion of the memo, Mr. Gill owns a corporation that has in his checking account in all
The judgment's against him individually, but not against the corporate entity.
He's a sole owner of the corporation. The corporation owes him upwards of $40 million. There's an average daily balance in his checking account of nearly $1 million. It's well within this court's authority to order him to have his corporation make a payment to him. She will then use to pay this judgment. He owes the money. He controls funds that can be used to pay the judgment. He should be ordered to do so.
Right, but if you're saying that's because the corporation owes him. Because otherwise, if you put aside the debt, right, you'd agree that because the corporation has money, if the corporation isn't the debtor, you know, the fact that he owns the corporation doesn't require him to compel the corporation to make that payment.
But he's the sole owner of the corporation, Your Honor.
Even if it's...
He has access to it.
Wait, if it's solely owned, I mean, the fact that it's a corporate debt, or not a corporate debt in this case, makes a difference, doesn't it?
But the corporation, according to the papers he submitted to the court, owes him $40 million.
Right,
So
well, I
it's
saw
well
that.
within the court's authority to order him to have his corporation make a payment to him, to use it to pay this judgment that she owes.
You mentioned that in the divorce case, there was a payment, you said of nearly $100,000 in connection with that proceeding, and bail was set at that amount. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
All I can tell you, Your Honor, and I appended this to my memo, is what is publicly available to me. The file in that case is downstairs in circuit court. My recollection from some activity regarding that during the underlying case here is that large parts of that are sealed. But publicly available records, which I suggest the court could take judicial notice of, because probably you have the ability to look at that file, reflect what I've indicated in my memo, that he was quite recently held in contempt for failing to make a payment of about $100,000 to his wife. It was very shortly thereafter released.
Okay. All right, let me hear. And so what you're asking for today is in order that you make the full payment by a certain date?
Make the full payment, forthwith, or,
The 30 days.
I think I said 30 days, and that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Gill, what do you have to say?
Well, this is all extortion. Now, didn't we not say last hearing that if I gave you my financial, my penalty, you were going to arrest me? Did I not tell you that Mr. Hilliard would give it to the drug dealers? Now, I'd like to give you this because the drug dealers posted it. My financials. Here's the copy, and here's the copy. And they also brought it to attention you. Now, let's go look through the financial that everybody gets to see. Now, as Judge Francois, at the same time as your orders, Judge Anderson, let's see, New Hampshire Banking Commission 130, that was your order that they took out of my banking account from the business. We can deduct that, right? That was your order. And it was also Richard Head from the AG's office. Richard Head worked for Divine Millimat for 6 years. Divine Millimat represented me. So it was a conflict from the beginning. Richard Head is giving state evidence right now. And here's what Mr. Trump got and the FBI got. It includes both of you. This is extortion. Francois, connected 96. This is organized with you. Your order for 130 without hearing a witness. Because the banking department criminally was trying to cover this up. So that's $130,000 that now is out of the account. We're not done there. You ruled against the New Hampshire DRA for $289,000, which they again just took out of my account. So now we're up to about $500,000 less than we had. But let's go on. You're ruling with the DRA, even though it was a forged tax return, just attached the properties to $3.5 million. Right now, everybody knows that. And now, Wiggins and Norrie, we're back here with you. Let's see, that's 5 cases with you. And each and every one of it's extortion. And here's the gig. Ready, boys? Kelly Ayott's giving state's evidence. Right now, they're asking A.G. Foster to resign. So, I asked you, Honor, do you know Richard Head? Do you know Alice Walker? And yes, you do.
I've met Mr. Walker, but that's
Yes,
not-
you have. It's connected and it's extortion. We've had 5 birds land in the nest within weeks. This is extortion, and he's here to finish the job, to stop state of corruption.
Mr. Gill.
But first of all, he said 40 million. We've got 300,000 left in the business account, period. The DRA has attached my personal accounts, but these court knows and it was your order. Your order. Yes, it was your order. And it's organized. Delker gets the information from my witnesses in the drug deal. The courtroom next to you. Francois turns around for 96 and tries another 96. And you're accredited for about $4.5 million. Now I got a forged tax return. I got a president of the United States that's going to put your asses in jail. Right? So you're going to have to explain how this all happened. And you're not. And listen, if you're watching, you've seen the feds accept this information. You may want to read one of these. You're all over it. And we have state's evidence. Right? Check in the mail. Anonymous just went out, 36,000 members, talking to Sununu today with the president to resign. You're all going to jail. So you can do what you want. 40 million, 39 million's write-offs from the Racing Commission. It's the same notes that the DRA and the banking, coincidentally, that you ruled on.
Mr. Gill, let me ask you a question. The $96,000 that you posted in the bail and the divorce proceeding, where did those funds come from?
Out of the business. They're trying to close the business, and so are you.
So you used the business proceed, the business cash.
Oh, are you
pay
trying to
your-
start a precedent? It's extortion. It's extortion. Oh, right, I had to use the business to stay in jail, and last time I went to jail, they don't try to kill me. Now he's got that too. In fact, we even got the hitman. Right, he's giving state's evidence. Right, Francois is going to jail, Telford, so are you.
All right, Mr. Gill. Anything else you want to say on this motion, which is about the judgment that we're going to...
You are putting a business out of business, which is your intention. We only have a few 100,000 operating. We had to lay off half of our employees from corruption. This guy's in on it too. Do you remember how he said that we had no settlement offer? That Wiggins and Norrie never offered a fucking penny, right? Well, here it is.
Mr. Gill, you're going to watch your line.
All right, John Ross, Wiggins and Norrie, wanting a release. They want to give me $50 million. Now, Mr. Hilliard got this ruling with Judge McHugh because I brought this up. He denied it. We have him on tape. Your Honor, he goes, I didn't offer a nickel. No, it wasn't a nickel. It was $50 million. And here's the names on it right here.
Mr. Gill, have you paid anything on the 233?
No.
Mr. Gill, based on the fact that you've acknowledged that you've taken corporate funds to pay off...
There are no more corporate funds.
I'm going to order you to make full payment on the judgment by 30 days.
We don't have it. You're closing the business, and that's your intention. Are you watching this, people? That's what you're doing. And let's not remind you, this was 3 weeks of a divorce bill from 2007 with a lawyer that I was sleeping with who turned around and called out the corruption.
Mr. Gill, you have till March 15th to make full payment. I'm going to find you in contempt at that
Are you acknowledging that that's the remaining money in this company?
matters.
You are closing. All right, you're going to jail. You're going to take your girlfriend with you. You fucker.
Hey, watch
You don't know who this guy is, huh?
You're out of here now.
You. See, I told you. That's John Ross.
You're out of
You
here.
know who he is? He's a criminal. Mike Gill. We're in a courthouse in Concord. You know, with the drug dealers. What you just saw with Anderson was a plan, an orchestration. I want you to remember what he said. That $96,000 that I had to pay to get out of jail, they knew I had no more money. They had frozen all my other assets. They knew it was coming out of the business. Eileen Landy, my paralegal, set that up. That's why I went to jail. I would have stayed there until I had to come out of the business. They used that to be able to get into the business and stop state of corruption and shut down mortgage specialists for the truth. This was the 1-2 punch. I got a notice of this hearing 5 days ago, right? They're going to turn around and shut down state of corruption in the signs. You know how I found out we even had a hearing? WMUR called. Right. They wanted to know about the hearing. That's how I found out. So this is a setup. It's supposed to be a scheduling conference. What it's going to be is a sealing order from Tucker to turn around and not give you any more information. All this is corruption is coming down. Gordon is threatening each and every one of these witnesses. I'm going to bring evidence in that courtroom that suggests just that, including the recording of the man that Aganos, through Sequoias, tried to hire to murder me. We'll get you right after the hearing. As you know, Your Honor, this hearing was hit me with 5 days. I got a notice on Friday.
No, we're just talking about the scheduling your case.
Right, I
You see the order?
understand. I understand, but if you remember, I said the paralegal who was working for me started working criminally with Aaron Day and the plaintiffs. Now it's all being investigated by the feds.
He has his evidence. He's told everybody he has his evidence. He's given his evidence to the police. He's given it to Donald Trump. He's given it to the Bedford Police. He's given it to the AG's office. He's given his evidence to the DEA.
Statements on an electronic billboard in the Mall, New Hampshire on South Willow Street are literally seen by hundreds of thousands of people. The statements that are made on State of Corruption Facebook page are sponsored. With regard to Mr. Cruz, Mr. Cruz is this gentleman here. Andy Cruz is a major drug dealer with a photograph of Andy Cruz on a billboard for all of New Hampshire to see. The major drug dealers have given their names up. Agnostic Cruz, First Amendment complaint, paragraph 29A. Cruz turns around and he's a drug dealer, paragraph 29B. Andy Cruz, they're your heroin dealers in this state, been for 20 years. They're selling your children drugs, killing your children. First Amendment complaint, paragraph 29C. The major drug dealers, two in particular, are Andy Cruz and Dick Anagnos, 29D. So we have Anagnos and Cruz distributing heroin in this state in quantity. So I find out through witnesses inside this warehouse that they're selling heroin. They're also selling guns, Anagnos and Cruz. Unloading machine guns from warehouses. I name Cruz. Oh, I heard you don't like me, Andy, on the radio there. Well, we're still here, and you're still a drug dealer. Present tense. First Amendment complaint, paragraph 29J. Cruz is in the business of, quote, selling drugs and laundering money. So with regard to Mr. Cruz, Mr. Gill believes present tense that he's selling drugs, killing children, selling machine guns, and laundering money. Those are the relevant defamatory statements with regard to Mr. Cruz. And as I go along, I will develop the evidence that I need to develop to show reckless disregard for the truth, which is the standard I need to come over to.
Your Honor, 1 minute, please. How are we allocating time, Your Honor?
We'll have enough time. Go ahead.
How do you know how much time I'm going to use?
Well.
You're going to give me as much time as I need, Your Honor?
Well, if you stay on
Good
the
enough.
point.
With regard to the allegations in the First Amendment complaint, the allegations are present tense. Dick Anagnos drug dealer, photograph, South Willow Street, Ashland, New Hampshire, last out, for the world to see. False, intentionally publicized in a way that does maximum damage. The major drug dealers in the state, I've given the names up, Anagnos and Cruz. First Amendment complaint 29A. Dick Anagnos, that's right, I name names. They are your heroin dealers in this state. Been for 20 years, they're also selling, killing your children. So we have Anagnos and Cruz distributing heroin throughout this state in quantity. I find out through witnesses inside the warehouse they're selling heroin and machine guns. Present tense. With regard to Mr. Griner, this is Mr. Griner right here. Same, present tense. Not what Mr. Griner did in the 1960s, 50s, 40s, 1800s, or even 1980s. Present tense. He is laundering money and selling drugs. I accuse Griner of being a drug dealer. First Amendment complaint, paragraph 29M. So these are my clients. Those are the defamatory statements. They are present tense. It has nothing to do with what happened in history. But he did provide a second set of automatic disclosures. That second set of automatic disclosures included, again, Mr. Gill's name, somebody named Killeen or Kylene or Kinning. And then,
I
instead,
object, Your Honor. He doesn't even know who he's mentioned.
Stand up.
I object, Your Honor. He's referring to people and doesn't even know. He's guessing 3 names. I mean, can he be? And he's trying to be exact and making accusations to me, and he doesn't even know what he's saying.
Okay, thank you.
or the 8 named people from the second one. Basically looks like he went through the phone book and just started plucking names.
I object, Your Honor. I object. This is ridiculous. In fact, you know something, Your Honor? I'm going to show you witnesses that they terrorized. I'm going to play you some that they hired to murder me.
No.
There are 2 pages of unknown origin that Gill found, apparently in response to a right to know request concerning Richard Anagnost. My client's name is Dick Anagnost. Dick is not a nickname or abbreviation for Richard. Dick is his given Greek name. So when you make a right to know request for Richard Anagnost and get back 2 pages of nothing concerning somebody else, or you don't know who it is. In fact, the cover page from the state actually says that. Mind you, this is the cover page received from the state in September, 5 months after the lawsuit was filed. It says, for example, the records have no date of birth for the defendant. Second page. I mention this because the date of birth is an important element to identifying individuals. Different people can have the same name. For example, there are 2 separate people mentioned when I put Richard Anagnost on Facebook, while the White Pages website shows 3 different middle names for Richard Anagnost and Dick Anagnost.
I will.
Okay. First of all, since we've been in, well, I'd like to start with this for the record. You're aware that Sheehan Gordon were my law firm, and that they've been on my side for the last 5 years. And the evidence I have here is that that's why I believe that even the courtroom with Judge Delker, what they asked for was 46 witness information. I simply asked for protection. You know what happened? Each and every one of those witnesses were called, and called by Steve Gordon, and threatened with extortion. For instance, Chris Belair.
Well, you have witnesses that are going to...
Yes, I do. Your Honor, give me an opportunity here. We let him ramble.
I don't want to go into the...
Well, I know, but you let him roll here.
Well,
So how about this? Wait, do I have an opportunity, Your Honor?
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, first, let's start by the fact that Dick Anagnost is a drug dealer. So let's take a look. They turned around, and Mr. McLaughlin's over here saying, well, his name is Dick really and not Richard, suggesting that the 91A we pulled, which says Richard Dick, was arrested in 1987. In fact, was arrested by State Trooper Keenan, who told me that himself. Otherwise, how would I come up with a case number, considering they protected this case number? It took quite a bit to get it, but I got it from Attorney Horton. And he turned around, Dick was arrested. And when he says, witness that I brought up, Judge Whaling, well, Judge Whaling was only the prosecutor. So I'd say that was a pretty good witness. Now what I'm saying to you is, they're calling each and every witness. Here's one, Chris Belair, who goes on, was friends with Dick Aganos' son, was part of the selling of the drugs, telling you where they were, the prices they were getting. Right now, as a witness, he had an issue before with drugs, and he cleaned up. Now he turns around and says, I regret to inform you, I was abusing substance, I didn't know what I was doing. He was threatened. Jerry McCahey, who works for Auto Fair for years, saying the same thing, and guess what he ends with? He ends with this, Your Honor. I'm afraid they're going to kill me.
Mr. Gill is referring to documents that have been produced in discovery. I have no copies of them.
Well, I have these in text, so we put them. So in other words,
Look, you were, part of your disclosure that you were supposed to make was the information.
I did give them this.
That showed.
These are the 46. These are part of these witnesses, Your Honor. This isn't new. This isn't new.
Have you turned that over to?
Yes,
Yeah.
of course I did. Right. So now, what they're doing is calling Mulcahy, who worked there for years, and he's worried about his life. Now, I got a little recording to play from a gentleman named Gertner, who worked for Mr. Cruz for 7 years, top salesman. Now, what I have, Your Honor,
Wait a minute. Not yet. Go ahead.
what I have is just a recording of him in front of other people who said that Dick Aganos, through a guy named Sequoias, who turns out to be partners with them, tried to hire him to murder me. Now we have that, and I'd like to play it for the court. And then he turns around and goes on about the drug deal. Do you see this Silvestri? He's a multiple drug dealer. And he goes on about Silvestri. And the reason why I was calling him as a witness to support it, because he one of the ones selling, which is why he left. So in other words,
You can tell me what's on the recording, but you don't.
all right, let's play it for you.
No, we're not going to.
All right. Well, the recording goes, and you see here, they were suggesting that I went to the DEA, Bedford cops. The Bedford cops, you know how long they investigated? They gave it to them in 48 hours. That's why I got a 91A, and they brought it up in courtroom. See, that's the juice that these guys got. That's the pressure they put on these people. See? So Silvestri's in this package. The Fed has it. What he's going to say is that he can get the largest quantity of drugs that you can imagine in 30 seconds in National Auto Fair. And that Cruz is a front man. Sequoias is the partner of Aganos. And it was Sequoias that you hear him saying, how much will it take to murder Gil?
Have you turned this information over to the plaintiffs?
The answer is no, Your Honor.
Well, this was a confidential, they could have this. Listen, the feds have this witness. It's all public.
Here's your problem, Mr. Gill. Judge Delker said that you had to turn over the information to the plaintiffs. Now, you may have
Well, also,
it
Judge
over,
Del-
but if you haven't turned it over.
Well, that one witness who threatened to kill me, I had to give to the president first. So, and they're investigating, as we hear now, Foster today. So they suggested that I give it to them. Now, Project Veritas has
So you
it,
haven't
and they've been
given it-
working for you
Mr.
guys.
Gill,
Yes, sure.
Mr. Gill, you haven't given it to the plaintiffs.
Excuse me?
You have not given.
Well, you know what? It came up afterward, Your Honor. What happened when I went and filed this? Witnesses to keep coming.
All right.
And when one tells me that they hired to murder me, and turns around and tells you, Bud, and listen, they have a gambling where he tells you that they'll bet as many as 200,000. There's also a connection where they extort. They'll talk to you about cutting a little girl's head off. Okay? So in other words, that's who these people are. And that's the witnesses. So when he goes to Hambrook, he doesn't know anything currently. That's a little slick. He was an arresting officer before. Aganos has been arrested multiple times. Hambrook, and you know, Stewart, I only got it in his handwriting. All right? This is what they're doing. In fact, you know something? I was contacted by a lawyer. His name was John G. Cronin. He's threatening to sue me. You see, Gordon's threatening him. Gordon, I am saying, this is extortion, Your Honor.
We're talking about what the allegations are.
Well, this is
and we're talking about whether or not you have any.
I am telling you, I have multiple witnesses. Gordon is extorting these witnesses. I'm giving you another case of extortion that I also have a witness for, and on tape, saying that Gordon's extorting them to force the information off the sign, just like he did with the radio. It's extortion. These witnesses extortion. Now, when they said the DEA in Bedford, Shaheen used his political connection. Because you know what he did? He turned around and leveraged Aaron Day for $20 million. These guys threatened to murder him, so he runs against Ayotte, so Hassan, their girl, wins. Now, this being investigated now all the time. In fact, Aaron's turning state's evidence right now.
So you're saying you don't have any evidence to.
Of course I do. I'm saying yes, Your Honor.
No evidence because.
No, I do have evidence. I have it. In fact, you know something, Your Honor?
Well, let me go back to the.
I'm giving them.
3 times. Have you turned it over to the plaintiffs?
Yes. Yes, they have evidence. I turned it over. The only evidence they didn't have was the attempted murder that we went through the feds. And if you did notice then, the feds did take that. They are investigating it. And Your Honor, I would like to turn this as an evidence and give everything. Will also involve the corruption with Shaheen. So in other words, I'd like to give this to the plaintiffs so they've got well beyond all the evidence. Even the feds have. Can I give you this?
You want this, Your Honor?
Right? And now this is also going out to the press. So I want you to understand, Your Honor, what they're asking for is for me to be silenced. The same time they had Judge Anderson. You know, this is an AG operation. You know, every judge I have comes out of the AG operation. Guess what? They all work for Tim McLaughlin's daddy, which is also being investigated. And if you look through that, you'll see it. So what I'm asking this court is clearly, is this is the voice of the people. This is protecting the people. All these pieces are extortion. Dick Lycanos has been arrested multiple times. What I would ask this court is, how do you get arrested for large quantities of drugs each and every time and become citizen of the year, businessman of the year, right, and involved in treatment centers? It's obscene. And if you read this about Chris Belanger, which they do have, he implicates Aganos right here and now. And I also remind you, what I came forwards with was about the prescription drugs and that their alignment with that. Do I have to tell you right after I dropped that package off the DEA, we had the biggest, we had a tractor trailer load of fentanyl turned in. When I'm telling you this, all this is coming down right now. I am giving this all to Donald Trump. Right there. And what he wants to see is the corruption in the court. Right. Bill Shaheen's going to jail. You watch. So now, I have given them evidence, and I am willing to sit down in each one of these offices. Tim McLaughlin, cleverly with Lon Lambert. The other guy, but I am telling you, Lambert is the one who told me, listen, they've taken gold out of a safe and drugs and a gun in a real estate office. Keenan tells me about roadblocks across the highway. He even said that Aganos got arrested that night for rape. Now, Keenan said this. So in other words, it's not Richard, it's Dick, it's him. Right? So you gotta ask yourself, if a guy gets arrested for that amount of drugs, that many times, without being in check, he just might build an empire. And I'm telling you under oath right here, and talking to the president, he's connected to El Chapo, which is why the cousin of El Chapo got prosecuted here last year. And that tried to move El Chapo to Bedford. Listen, now how would I know this? Now we only got 40 million people that are going to come out with, what's it called, that website? Anonymous. They came out with the evidence. I am telling you they're working for Mr. Trump. What I am telling you is the case. So I'm asking you, Your Honor, if you rule against this and put a sealing order, you were having people in great jeopardy, including these witnesses. I want you to listen to that tape. And I want you to listen to how he was going to murder me. the fact he was setting me up after jail, how much they were going to cost to kill me. And if I wasn't running for office as the governor, he said I'd be dead. Thank you. Your Honor, I have one more, please. You know something, Your Honor? Regarding Shaheen and Gordon and representing him, I have a settlement offer here that they offered me $50 million. You're going to see that Bill Shaheen's on it. You're going to see Divine Millimat's on it, right? No, what corruption is worth 50? But that's what I turned down. And I'm going to ask you one thing, Your Honor.
Can I have a copy of that, Your Honor? Right now. If it's in evidence, I want a copy.
There's not an evidence, but Your Honor, it's signed. Okay, Your Honor, one last thing, it's very important, Your Honor. As far as regarding a website and putting information, do you know they have a website about me? The truth about state of corruption.
All right,
Melissa.
it's not part of the hearing.
No, but, Your Honor, it is part.
Not about, no. It's not
If they're
about-
suggesting that I'm damaging them on Facebook, they're doing the same to me. So I think it's pertinent, Your Honor. We have given them information, they've given us nothing. And they've gotten away with it the whole time. Your Honor, have you given all the information we gave to Judge Delter about the recusals? Because you're also going to see that there was an attorney that represented me that was working with Shaheen that was worried Shaheen was going to murder his children.
Okay,
So I want...
Right now, we're talking about the motion to strike the additional...
I understand. I'm asking you if you have that information. Now, I am telling you, Your Honor, I have given them information. Whether they're trying to use this as an excuse, as a default.
No,
It's not.
It's not. You filed a motion to strike the conditional default, the plaintiffs objected
Right, and the
So
initial
why-
fault is that we
why-
gave them the information.
on time.
Yes, we gave them the proper information. They didn't want it. They delayed it. And the concern with Judge Delter, which turns out that he had a conflict after we gave the information to 46 witnesses and after Steve Gordon called them all and threatened them. And listen, I have this one on tape too. If you think he didn't extort, I'll put it on the video tonight.
I do want to state for the record, I did not object and stand up and start objecting to numerous of the statements that Mr. Gill made about myself personally, about Bill Shaheen personally, because I have a high degree of respect for this court and the decorum of the proceeding. I'll just be brief. The great harm that is causing us in part to just call these people and say, what knowledge do you have about the facts that are set forth in these Rule 22 disclosures? And that is what we did. We called the people who were listed. Many of them told us they did not wish to get involved. A number of them told us that they would execute affidavits. And a number of them told us of the great pain that being named by Mr. Gill and listed by Mr. Gill. Because we have reviewed those Rule 22 documents. I could walk them through.
You provided documents.
Yeah, he provided documents, but they're totally irrelevant.
Okay, but that may be, but he provided documents that he says are responsive.
He provided documents that were, he said, and in fact, what we did is we cited as part of our pleadings on this issue, Judge McHugh's order defaulting Mr. Gill for the precise things of just an abject failure and refusal to comply with the rule. So as a matter of...
I object, Your Honor.
Well,
Judge McHugh, right? For the same hearing that they did, they're talking about, they offered me $50 million for. Just so you know.
And I think, and ironically, Judge
You didn't see him
McHugh's,
say no.
Judge McHugh's order was, I think, May 26, 2014, and that's the hearing that Mr. Gill was at this morning to enforce the judgment that, or periodic payments for that judgment. But when they tell me to a person, I don't want to get involved, I don't want my name on the billboard, I'm fearful, that has a damage. Do I argue against it?
I object, Your Honor. He looked through this and said there was no witness. Do you know when he did that? Untrue. We only have Gertner in here.
Sit-
Again, Your Honor.
You can sit down.
You don't believe that, right? Well, Mr. Gordon, how did he know I had an appointment with Judge Anderson today? No, I did. Now, you know what, Judge Anderson? You know, out of the AG's office who Richard Head filed that complaint. So, the DRA and the IRS piece I was leveraged with Anderson today. Now, he only leveraged me on the DRA, IRS, Wiggins and Norris, all of which are in the settlement for $50 million. 10 and 10, Divine, maybe Morris Mahoney, all of which we're suing, all of which offered me $40 million to settle, including him.
Disregard all that, again, you have to, he can only give you fact evidence, not some suppositions.
It was Hilliard that brought this up, not me. He opened that door. I didn't sign anything with anybody regarding to keep my mouth shut about mediations. I'm telling you, including his own client, they offered me settlement offers, and you can see it in writing. Now, you know who represented me for the DRA and IRS was Anderson leveraged me on? Them. You see? That's why they know. That's part of their incrimination. See? That's why he knew about Anderson. Here's the plan, Your Honor. Freeze his assets, take his money. Have you put a sealing order so I can't say anything. Anderson's just taking all my money. 4 orders, 2 weeks, $800,000. Now, it's all criminal, but who you go to? Now listen, Mr. Gordon turned around and carefully turned around and said, well, I had to call all those people. Sure he did, to threaten each one. So when they turn around and say, oh, I don't want to testify, why do you think? Because he is threatened. I only had 5 state troopers who were involved in each and every arrest that I talked to. And now listen, Aaron Day was with me each and every time. Greg Federer was with me multiple times. So there's witnesses to these points. But you see, well listen, let me finish, Your Honor. They just double teamed. There was a period we objected, because don't forget, Your Honor, Judge Delker took months to decide on a protection order. I only had people that were fearful for their life. So when they say, I don't want to get involved, that's because they extort them. But so I was waiting for the protection order to turn around. And to give them the, so for instance, if I'm waiting for protection order, and I have 46 witnesses that are concerned for their lives, I wanted to wait for Judge Delker to make a ruling. They needed to get the evidence. See, what they've got to do is plug the leak.
Some of the requests for production.
Listen, everything that they need for documents, Your Honor, is in this.
Let me finish my question.
Okay?
You objected to providing certain documents that they asked for. Right?
Which documents were they?
Well, you go through your answers to the request.
Did you go through all the interrogatories, Your Honor? My question, I would ask you to go through it.
No, you're talking about something else. I'm talking about the request for production documents.
Yeah.
You said some of them objection, and you said why you objected. Is it that you have documents and you object to turning them over, or is it that you don't have documents?
I think that we had documents, and it was under a federal investigation, and we were concerned what documents to give. And that was my concern. Why I'm giving you this? The feds told me to. So we're good. And listen, what I'm telling you, you see just a few days ago, me going into the feds. That didn't door open before that. So when they say he's investigated, that's a lie.
Here's what you need to do. You need to go back through the request for production of documents, and you need to ask yourself, do I have any documents
I will, Your Honor.
responsive to this? If you do, you need to turn them over.
I will.
If you have them and you don't turn them over, then
I understand.
I'm not going to let you use them at the trial. And
Not a problem.
if you object to turning them over, you have to state specifically why you object to turning them over, and then we'll have a hearing and I'll make a decision on whether you have to turn them over or not.
Understood.
Okay.
Okay. A couple more points, Your Honor. Then I'll
Last question, Your Honor, just before he goes to his point.
Excuse me.
After all the times you've interrupted me.
Oh, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
So that,
One last thing, Your Honor. Mr. Gordon said very passionately that he didn't threaten anybody. Could I have you have him under oath? and just ask him this question, that he didn't extort this gentleman, John Cronin, attorney? I just don't need to, what was the sign? Take the messages down?
Well, the messages that the dental people, I'm not sure of the specifics, I know generally what's up there, just paying attention to the news, but, I don't know what they are and what the volume of they are in total, but.
Well, that's about drug dealers, John. You understand? It's about drug dealers.
Yeah, but this is about a conversation, after all. You got a guy that owns 2 of these that tries to stay the heck out of this thing. He's been, threatened at different times about we got to do something, we got to do something.
Who's threatening him? Who's threatening him?
Well, no, he's been threatened with lawsuits.
By whom?
What's his name? The guy up the country. That you have an obligation to do something with us, you guys.
I mean, he made it very clear that he didn't. Could you have him say that under oath?
Now, whether or not,
So in other words, it's as good as on the oath?
look, the question of extortion isn't really relevant.
Well, the attorney turned around and said that Gordon's threatening to sue us if we don't take it off the sign. Gordon's threatening to sue this company. You gotta help me, right? He called it extortion. So when I say it, it's pertinent, because that's what he's doing to the witnesses. They don't want to come. Not after they're done with him. Keenan called me back. And he turned around and said, Gordon is threatening me.
Well, if you want to have a hearing on that, you can call the witness.
Well, and I will bring Keenan. And we can go over his arrest.
All right. Why don't you file a motion, get an affidavit from these people supporting your assertions, and then if there's a basis to have a further inquiry into it, we'll have them.
My suggestion, Your Honor, you read this and you're not going to have any questions.
Okay.
And one more thing, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Could we have Bill Shaheen swear that he never talked to Aaron Day's attorney with a secret meeting, about Aaron running for senator? Could we have him come up and swear that that never happened?
Not today.
I didn't think so.
All right.
So no one swears.
The last motion is one from the plaintiffs to preclude Mr. Gill from making certain extrajudicial statements. What do they have to say?
Since this case has begun, I have been called a squinty-eyed asshole. About an hour ago, I was greeted by Mr. Gill, he called me an asshole, and said he would send me to jail. Now,
Your Honor, I did say that, and I do believe it.
that's all and well, but this isn't a game for me, and I don't take it as a joke.
Well, he came over to me and asked how the fall was and shook my hand.
Mr. Gill, now your turn.
All right.
The change statements are in the motion, Your Honor. This is a document that I would have included, except it came from Mr. Gill yesterday. May I approach Your Honor? This is a video that Mr. Gill posted. He posted it yesterday. At the start of the video, he says, Thursday we have a hearing at 1:30 with the drug dealers. That's a Glock 43, 9mm. I don't think that's funny.
Your Honor,
And then beneath that, there are posts. Because what Mr. Gill does is he trolls. Trolls the internet through his sponsored pages. You get someone named Cody Turgeon. Nice gun, Mike. Keep calm, carry on. Block 43, to which Mr. Gill responds, I have court on Thursday. You coming? Yes. And then the next page, which is a link to this anonymous post you've been hearing so much about, that's what the posters from Mr. Gill trolls for. Oh, I don't think it's a joke. Killing a local heroin dealer.
Your
Cut
Honor,
off the head of the snake.
Your Honor, I
The
didn't
people
post
that
that.
sell it need to die.
I didn't post that.
Give you a chance.
He trolls with these people
You can
on
have a
it.
seat. You can have a seat. I will. I promise.
I get the response?
You will get the response.
I don't think Block 9's are funny, Your Honor. That's what this circus has created. I go home each night. My clients go home each night. I live in a state where concealed carry is now the law. I don't think that's funny. I think that warrants an order from this court to stop this conduct, which has crossed the line from defamatory to threatening, Your Honor. True threats are not protected speech.
Your Honor, what I would do, you notice I didn't put the title of it. You should listen to it. It'd be the corruption that involves the AG and Shaheen. Now, I didn't put Glock 3, and I didn't put kill your heroin dealer.
That's a
I have
Glock 9 in
never.
his hand, Your Honor. That's a
Excuse
Glock
me?
9 in his hand.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that at all. And you know something? They carefully didn't put by the numbers, because if it's by the numbers, it's Shaheen and Gordon, and about the AG cover-up that's being investigated by the feds and the president right now. See, pretty clever. They were selectively doing it. This is what they do. What I would ask, Your Honor, is go to State of Corruption and see that we have almost 60,000 people, desperate people, people who need help, and that I am helping them. I'm dealing with kids that have heroin problems. I've gone and helped people in jail. That's what I'm doing. I'm collecting this evidence from victims and helping those victims. I go, this is a misrepresentation. And they pulled it out at the end. I asked you, Your Honor. It says by the numbers. Please go to State of Corruption and you see if listen, I'm trying to save lives, not cost lives. Our children, you know we have the worst heroin problem in the United States? We have ground zero, according to the DEA. Do you know why that is? Right here. That's why. And the protection is political protection. Now, if you read these packets, Your Honor, and I ask you please to do, and visit State of Corruption. Now, you see if I've mentioned one-time violence. Listen, they threatened to kill me. There's a guy in auto fair, and I have a witness that threatened to take my eyes out with a spoon. And this guy here, Aganos and Sequoias, threatened to murder me. I haven't threatened a human being. All I'm doing is trying to save lives, Your Honor.
All right. I will try to get an order out the first part of next week on all the kind of motions. Think about extending the deposition deadline on the structuring order, but I'll get an order out on that probably tomorrow. All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Please all rise for the honorable court.
Your Honor, can I just...
Your Honor, while you're still on the bench,
You may be seated.
Could you remind me of your name, please?
My name is Peter Bloss, yes.
Thank you.
Briefly, Your Honor, very briefly, the documents that came about, everybody, I guess my client, okay? I want to make sure I do get a copy of that. And also, make sure, because somehow we've been left out of some of the stuff that's been forwarded. We would make sure that we get the documents and the back and forth between the parties. That would be great.
Do you have an extra copy for Mr. Days?
Could I ask you to ask him, Your Honor, under oath, that in fact is working with Shaheen, not off the record? Could you ask him that?
No, that's...
You can't?
That's not my concern.
It's a very serious matter, you know. It only fixed the scent race.
You need to give a copy of both sides.
There you go.
The plaintiffs and Mr. Gill
Right.
need to give copies of the documents. They're
I know, Aaron Day's a federal witness, so I'm a little nervous about getting him this information.
Well, you need to give him copies for everything.
There you go, he's got it. Thank you, Your Honor. So we can't ask him if he had those communications with Shaheen?
No, that's not...
Good.
All rise for the honorable court, please. Court's now in recess.
I just need you on that side of the table, sir. Because that's where the people stand. I just need you on that side of the table. Thank you. Stand your ground right there, sir.
Did you get this guy on the camera? About Aganon said something to him?
These yours?
Yes, they are.
You're gonna hold up right there, you're gonna wait till this party leaves, and then you'll get the chance to exit.
Why is that?
That's instructions, sir,
From who?
from my boss.
Who's your boss? Is
We'll
he
talk
your
about,
boss?
let's get this
Tell me
party
your boss,
out.
it's not too
We're
hard.
gonna get this party out.
Hey, get Shaheen up here.
We'll get this party out, and then you can exit. That's the rules.
Yep.
That's the way it goes.
No, we let the plaintiff side
But
go
who told,
first. I said let the
who gave
plaintiffs.
the order? Who gave
This
the
is
order?
how we do it, okay? It's safe for everybody if they leave first. And then you guys can leave.
Hey, Greg, get your ass over here. I want all
No,
these
sir, you
cars.
gotta stay behind, you gotta stay in the gallery.
You know where I'm going? Get them all. Look at them running. Get them. You know what? You're gonna make.
No, just, hold on, sir. I'll let you know when it's
Hey,
good to go.
will you get all these assholes?
Sorry, Craig.
Don't forget get these in there too. You know they're drug dealers. You know he's been arrested 5 times for heroin. Now how is he getting off each time? Do you know who he does business with? El Chapo. Why do you think El Chapo was getting moved to Bedford, New Hampshire? You know how many cities and towns in the United States there are? 13,354. And they're putting him in the same town as Aganos. You know how many square miles in New Hampshire there's 19,350,000. Do you know they were putting him less than 1 mile from Aganos? You all sit there?
That's right, thank you. Good to go, sir. Have a good day, guys.
Hey, get this asshole.
There you go. Have a good day.
Glenn, what is that? You want to pronounce
You
that?
can't pronounce it?
Mittery?
Mitera. M-I-T-E-R-A.
Got it,
That's
got
right.
it.
There you go, sir.
You were
Good
the
to
guy that
go.
was threatening the Silver Star winner, weren't you?
No, sir.
Yeah, you were.
No,
I was the #1 Honda salesman in the United States of America. Google it. I worked for Auto Sales for fucking 7 years. I just left 3 months ago. I was making $500,000 plus a year. This guy walks around like he's fucking God because he's from Bedford, New Hampshire. He's got money. Well, I'm from Lowell and don't have money, and I like to end people that think they're God. And I told him that. I said, buddy, you don't want to put it with me. You think that you got money? Money ain't shit, motherfucker. It ain't nothing. Then they call it, we're going to sue you. I go, sue me all you want. I'll have 5 guys outside the courthouse with baseball bats bashing your fucking head in. Fuck, sue me. I've been to jail. Do whatever the fuck you got to do. I don't care. So when somebody put that on my Facebook yesterday about you, I'm like, I'm not going to watch this. And I started watching. I'm like, wait a minute. This dude's like Jared Saunders? Buddy, do your homework on that shitbag. Oh, fuck. He's a fucking coke dealing, perk dealing, fucking junkie, scumbag piece of shit there is. Jared Saunders is the biggest piece of shit there is. George Sahoyas is the biggest fucking con, fraud, drug addict, scumbag, loser there is.
I was told he's making $4 million a year.
$4 million bucks. I was making fucking $700,000. One of my friends is making 1.2. He's making a lot more than $4 million. Randy Sylvester, your used car manager, didn't he go to federal prison, FBI Otisville, for drug trafficking? They're a bunch of shitbags. They're shitbags. Trust me,
Well, that's the thing. The guys I'm saying they're selling drugs on the lot in Nashua.
I know that. They're selling everywhere.
But
I can do a buy for you in 30 seconds.
the thing with
I
this,
can do a buy for you in 30 seconds.
the thing with this, that general manager there, what's his name again? Sokoyas. Have you?
He's not the general manager. He's the VP.
VP, right. How about this? Have you heard of, does he work with Aganos? Have you seen Aganos and know a connection?
Okay. Here's the deal. The only thing that you said that was wrong was that you said George was New Hampshire boy. He's not. He's from New York.
No, I know. And I knew he was from New York, but lives in Bedford.
Yeah. George is in bed with Dick Aganos and Jared Saunders, okay? Jared Saunders ain't got a pot to piss in. He ain't got a pot to piss in. He's a raging drug addict, scumbag, loser.
I was told the same thing.
Okay, and this is the truth. He's a loser, con artist, drug scumbag. I could walk into Auto Fair Nashua right now, my house, go to you 3 seconds on any sales. I could buy perks, I could buy heroin, I could buy whatever the fuck you want. And you know who knows it? George Sahoyas. You know why? Because he gets a piece of it.
I know.
He gets a piece of it. Let me tell you something. Me personally?
Yeah.
I gotta walk away and tell you this.
Yeah.
I have been in his house smoking cocaine too.
Who, Sequoias?
Yeah. I've been in his house, and I'm a street guy. I went to jail. I used to hurt people for a living. And you know what's funny? Long time ago, when I don't get involved in politics, they wanted me to hurt you. And I'm like, I'm not fucking doing that. It's New Hampshire. You would get an arrest or something, and somebody's like, hey, listen, how much does fucking kind of make this guy go away? I'm all set. I got out of jail a long time ago. I had a child.
They tried to kill me 3 times.
Yeah, they're a bunch of idiots.
3 times. Once in jail. You know what it is? He's the stiff. He's the guy. The Sequoias is the guy with Anagos.
Yeah.
That's why they're front. So he's the front man. This guy went from a bankruptcy on another lot in St. Louis that came up here to be the partners. It was Aganos. Do you know if Aganos, have you seen him at Auto Fair or know that he's a partner?
Well, let's put it this way. You're talking about Dick, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know him personally, but I can tell you this. He's 100% involved with these guys. I'll tell you why. Because the guy that runs, he was the general sales manager for the Honda store. His name's Derek Sanders, the nerd. His wife is Dick Anagnos's personal assistant. But that Nashville store, Jared Saunders and George, it's just a matter of time before they go to jail. Or it's a matter of time before somebody like walks in there and says, hey, the dopey told me bad, and they pull out a fucking machine gun and start shooting everybody. So you're not dealing with fucking low-life. Those guys you posted, those kids, I know all of them. They're all fucking low-life users, scumbags. I looked right at George Savoyas. I looked right at him. He's afraid of me, deathly afraid of me. And I was his number one man. I was his fucking right-hand man.
Talk to some of the people that left. They go through what happened with one individual. They can't work there because they're afraid of the people selling drugs. And when they go to Cruz turns around and lets them go, and then they write him a letter if they say anything or do anything, he'll sue them.
Why do you think he wrote up the house? Why do you think he sent that House of Hope Humanity bullshit thing?
Yeah.
That's why he did that because of you. You know that, right?
I do. I figured as much.
His wife did that because of you. Do you think they really care about helping people? They're hurting people.
Right. He's laundering the drugs. Do you see, you know what that financing you're seeing with, and you were talking about? Who do you think's laying out the money? The drug dealers. That's the Anagos thing. That's why they're in the credit union. That's why, I bet you've heard of Primary Bank.
Of course.
That's their bank. I'll bet you've done some business with Granite State Credit Union, right?
A million.
Yeah.
That is fucking just bullshit.
See, that's where Cruz is. Cruz is the cover. And the money that they're doing, they hide in, when all these millions are made in heroin, where we're selling the fentanyl, they're part of the relations with the hospital. That's why all that fentanyl was dumping. What happened is that they have the connections with the credit unions and the banks, and they do the financing on these cars with their own money. That's how they launder the drug money.
If you really want to get them, if you want to do a setup where there's a big amount of fucking drugs sold there, I can do it. But you can even use me. I'll stick it right up their cunt. I don't give a fuck. They don't scare me one bit. I told George Savoy, I said, George, you're supposed to be a tough guy, right? I go, bro, I'll let you punch me in the face 3 times. I go, 3 times. I go, I'll fuck your dick if I don't bite your fucking ears off in the fight. I went to jail for mayhem. I bet a kid's nose completely off. Completely off. He's like, I don't want any problems. I don't want any problems. No problems. So of course you don't. I said, you're a fucking...
They have a strong arm. Do you know this guy Kimbus?
I'll kill him.
But do you know that's kind of a guy that they'll send?
He's a pussy. He's a pussy. You're $25,000. No, I owe 15. He goes, no, you owe them 15. You owe me 10 first. I'm not paying you 10. And then he pulled up pictures of his kids and he says, see this little girl right here? And the kid's like, don't do that. He goes, no. He goes, I'm going to cut her fucking head off with a chainsaw. And let me tell you something. He wasn't kidding. He was not playing. He said, so if you don't have my money in $40, your daughter's dead. You can go tell the cops I said that too, because once you tell the cops are going to tell me, and then I'm going to get your wife.